I just touched myself. I don't know, I had a scratch or something. And I just was like, whoa, what's that? I just actually felt there is a bump. The first thing he told me, are you alone? I said, no, my family's outside. He told me, call them to come in. So that was the first strike where it hit me. Why me? You always have these questions back at your mind. I never told her I had the cancer. I never told her, and because I knew it's gonna break her. And she tells me, Mon, you pregnant? What? That girl and being pregnant gave me hope and strength. In this lowest time in my life, I kind of felt like I cannot break down now.
You made this announcement that the cancer was back. Welcome to the She Warriors, ordinary women with extraordinary stories. I believe that every woman has a story, but some are more moving and inspirational than others. Not every emotional or empowering story is about celebrities, influencers, or well-known personalities. One woman who has had profound impact on me and continues to do so every day is not a public figure. She's a divorced mum of 3, a breast cancer survivor who is dealing with breast cancer once again. Monica Schembri has shared her story on 4 episodes of the She Word podcast: Separation and Divorce, Single Mums, the Breast Cancer Special, and one show called The Power of Positivity. And this is the very reason you so often leave me speechless, Monica, because through your entire journey, one thing stands out, and that is your positivity. Through every challenge, you've shown such grace, and grace is not a term that we use very often, but I want to find out where it comes from. Monica, it's so good to sit down with you. You know that I have such a massive, massive heart for you. And you've, as I said in the intro, you've been part of 4 of our most powerful shows on the She Word. Before we go any further, and I don't think I've really ever sat down and asked you this, you are from Lithuania originally. So you grew up there. Tell me about your early years and how you then moved on through the continent to end up where we are today.
I grew up in Lithuania in a small countryside, I would say, not big or capital. I have to say I had a good childhood. I have a great memories from my childhood. I really do. We didn't have much, but I always felt love and support. And I have to thank to my Nana. She was a special, special person in my life. My mom was always working. Obviously, being single mom, she had a lot of responsibility. But the relationship with my Nana was a magical one. I think so. We had this special connection. She loved me. She loved me so much. I knew I was her favorite for everything. But she had this value of being strict and putting boundaries, which as a child I didn't like, obviously. I did love school. I was a bit of nerd. However, I tried to be as well a cool girl, let's say. So I tried, to be with the cool kids in school and kind of find my way there, where my Nana comes and she doesn't let me to go, So it was like a balance thing. But when I look back now, I have to thank her for who I am, truly. Like, I have to thank her.
Is Lithuania a tough country? Was it a tough country to grow up in? Because I think we in the western side of Europe don't really know what that would have been like.
I think so. I didn't realize it, obviously, until you don't move out. You don't really know the surroundings or how you're growing up. But obviously it was affected by Soviet Union at that time. So I was born in 89, so in 90s we got our independence. So we're still very, under that kind of pressure. It was obviously very closed-minded, I would say, especially growing in a village. everybody talks about everyone, judges. And it was different, you have a special standards, or, this is the family, this is not the family, this is and this. However, it did affect my life in a way only until I had a chance to leave the country.
Okay.
So that was, I think, so another level and step in my life, which changed me, which changed my life completely. First, I thought it as a fun adventure. Oh, okay. First of all, I never went on a plane before. Imagine
Right,
that.
okay.
13 years old, going, like, I think so. I felt like first I'm going just to visit my mom. I never really put in my mind like, oh, I'm actually moving. And when I started school, I didn't really cope on that because it was so sudden. This is what I feel when I look back, because even till now, when I think about like, what? How did we do that? How did it happen?
And you're leaving your nana, and you're going to a country that doesn't speak
my
your
native language. Yes,
and you spoke English at this point?
English at school level, kind of. We
Okay.
had to do English at school, obviously grammar and stuff. I had a basic vocabulary.
Okay.
Until I got to Ireland and hear the accent.
Yes, because that's a whole different game.
Totally, yes.
And we're talking about Southern Ireland. We're not talking about Northern Ireland.
No, we're talking, yes, Dublin in particular.
Really strong accent.
Yeah. So, you are kind of the nerd best student in the class, yes. And then you get to the country thrown in and like, oh, okay, so the English is not the English we learning back home. Getting to Ireland, waking up in the house, and my mom like, okay, tomorrow we go get the books, we get the uniform, and it was just like that. And I find it really hard. I never showed that. I think so. I never showed that. I think so. That comes as well from back from home environment. As I said, I had a very happy childhood, but I think so the way as a society and country as well as being Soviet Union, we are kind of thought to close our feelings. Maybe this is what I saw from my nana. It's like, you don't complain, I never really talked about my feelings. This is what we do, this is what we do, kind of, it's gonna be okay. Changing the countries from Lithuania to Ireland showed me a lot of diversity and difference. Even then going back to visit just for the holidays back home, I couldn't stand it. I could see the mentality of the people, how they are closed-minded. Like, it used to annoy me. Like, I stay 1 week, I miss home, because home is home. When you land and you go to your home, it's like that feeling. Nobody can take it away from you.
Yeah.
But then, even my friends who stayed in the village, let's say, because, then you move to different countries or different city and so on, and you spread your wings. It's different, and Ireland was the place where there's more freedom, people were expressing more their feelings, their fashion, their dreams, for example, obviously coming back and living from the small town, going to Dublin, again, it was for me as a girl was different. In Ireland, I was really growing where I wanted to be. And I love the city. It was not too big, not too small. It was just perfect.
So obviously you're not in Ireland now. So how does the chapters take you from Ireland, from going to study accounting and hospitality and working in those industries, to bringing us up to date? Because you're on another Ireland. We're in Malta. This is a small country. How did you get here?
I don't know. There was no plan. The plan was to come, enjoy, maybe work a little bit to get some extra money because the savings gonna finish at eventually 3 months, 6 months. Go with the flow, kind of, see what happens. If I find a job, I can kind of help myself, I'll stay longer, you know, and see how it goes. Because obviously I finished hospitality. So for me, I was like, I saw it as an experience. I can get experience, you know, maybe I'll go and work there and there and there. I came to Malta and week's time, I think so. I just started, you know, like, okay, I'm going to meet my friends and so on. After a week, I think so it wasn't longer than a week. After a week, I met my now ex-husband. And from now on, the love story happened. I'm still here.
Wow.
Yeah.
After a week of arriving on the rock.
I haven't even really enjoyed this single life much.
Your single life in Malta.
Yeah.
But the most remarkable thing about Malta, and if anybody doesn't know, Malta is in the middle of the Mediterranean. It's a tiny, small island, 11th smallest country in the world. But it really does have that story for everybody that I've ever met in Malta, that there is this story that they don't know quite sure how they ended up in Malta.
I know.
And it wasn't necessarily what they expected for their life, but it has a huge impact. Huge impact. There's something very magical about Malta in that respect. As you were talking, I was thinking about this sort of same parallels with my life. I don't know, I've been here 20 years and I don't know how I got here and how I'm still here. But so you stayed in Malta, you met your now ex-husband. Did you work in hospitality? Did that come
worked
about?
in hospitality, yes. So I spent 2 months or 3 months, I think so, just kind of relaxing and enjoying Malta. And then I found a job in hospitality and I stayed in the hospitality working. And then kind of from then on, it just, life happened. I was working full time then. We moved in together, you know, a relationship. And it started from there. Like, it just happened one.
But we met, the first time we met was on a show on the SHE Word about divorce and separation. And one thing that really, so obviously, as you've mentioned, you are not now married to this gentleman anymore. But one of the things that really hit me was that during this course of your marriage, you had 2 children and then 2 beautiful boys, and then the big hit.
Yeah.
And how old were you when that happened?
Life happened. So just almost post-COVID. So it was still restrictions happening there and then. But we decided to take this risk and planning to meet actually my friend from Ireland as well in this holiday. And this where I felt a lump on my one side of my breast, which I didn't pay attention to. Simple as that.
I'm going to unpack that because you felt a lump on your breast. Now, this really, when we spoke about this and you mentioned this before, this really hit me because it's not something that I would normally do. I don't normally check my boobs. I'm probably 90% of women. So what were you doing when you felt something and what was your reaction?
Neither am I. Believe me, I don't. I'm the worst of checking myself. And I never done that before. Like, why would I? Like, I didn't have a family history. I didn't have any friends going through that.
And you're 33 years old.
I'm 33 years old. I'm young and happy and, you know, like, never, ever crossed in my life. How it happened? Random. Very, very random. Being at home, I remember talking with my husband and very accidentally, it's not like I'm touching myself all the time, but because the lump was pretty out there, it was not hidden somewhere. You know, there are different places, obviously, different scenarios for everyone. But my lump was pretty, it did feel like it came from nowhere. Because I was standing and just talking and I just touched myself. I don't know, I had a scratch or something. And I was like, wow, what's that? I just actually felt there is a bump. It literally was a bump. You know, you wouldn't miss it. I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. It's fine. I didn't pay attention. Maybe a cyst or something because I had 2 small kids. It's normal. I didn't pay attention much. I kind of left it for a few days and then I still kind of it was still there. I was like, okay, maybe I should go and check it. What do I do? In fact, I had a gynae appointment coming up. And when I went to the gynae, I mentioned to her, I said, what do I do about this? I was like, what? Myself, I'm lost. Like, what do you do? Like, what is this? I said, oh, I just wanted to ask you, I have this thing. I said, shall I do something? And what she told me, she said, I'm not sure, I cannot obviously do anything, but I can refer you to ultrasound if you want to. And I took it from there. So I was kind of lucky that I had the gynae appointment coming up, which I went and asked, because probably if I wouldn't have it, I just would have waited longer, because I just didn't even thought about the procedure. So because I had that referral to ultrasound, I said, okay, let me kind of check on it. And but I decided to do that. I went on holidays, and then the ultrasound kept postponing and postponing. There was time I canceled the appointment. Then the second time the hospital canceled the appointment because doctor wasn't available, and it got postponed from the time I found the lump. It was July, middle July, something like that. It got till October. So when I was thinking it's only 3 months, I wouldn't think it's that much, but apparently it is. Yeah, because when I went to get ultrasound, the doctor, I will never forget the doctor's words when she said, okay, I need to do biopsy. I think so you waited long enough. That was her words. And this is where it struck me then. I was like, oh, okay.
And in these months, had this lump grown? Was it bigger than it had been?
I wouldn't say it grew. It stayed the same kind of. But the breast cancer I was diagnosed is triple negative, and it is not hormonal. It's a bit different side, different type of the cancer.
So triple negative, because I think this is really important. You taught me this. There are different kinds of breast cancer. I'm 51 years old. I didn't even know that. I thought breast cancer was breast cancer. But there's different kinds. Some are hormonal, some are hereditary. So this triple negative.
So this triple negative, apparently, it grows in a bit more aggressive form.
Okay.
As it grows faster, and it is found more in more younger age cases, apparently, which I'll never as well hear it before until I actually got it myself. I kind of read a bit through it. Well, obviously, it's not a very good thing, but it has positive and negative things comparing to, let's say, from hormonal as well. It is more harder to treat, so it has to take much aggressive treatment. Going straight away with chemo and all other treatments, where sometimes the other ones, maybe sometimes you can take a tablet or some kind of other treatments or do surgery and so on. So I had to dive in straight away in very aggressive treatment to treat it. However, if it's treated right, the positive thing out of it, it says if it doesn't come back in 5 years, it's like a 5 years limit. Most likely, it's a big chance that it doesn't come back. So it's like kind of a positive thing of the type of the cancer, but it's not always the case.
Take care and enjoy healthy skin. Browns, empowering wellness through a selection of dermo-cosmetic brands ideal for the whole family.
Feel more sensual than ever before with the new Denise bra, Intimissimi.
I just feel alive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got that lifestyle, I'm fierce as hell. That velvet top model, that husky fast throttle. Living it up, I love it. It said I just feel. What I am, and I'm about
Can I jump in at that point? Because I want to come back to the story. So the person that's done the ultrasound for you says, we're going to get a biopsy. You've waited too long enough now. We're going to get a biopsy. So obviously there was a biopsy, and then somebody sat down with you and told you that it was cancer. Can I take you to that moment, as painful as that must be? But I'm assuming that there was someone with you.
Yeah.
What was that moment like?
It was, again, it was COVID, so ish kind of. So I was alone in appointments. My family was outside. My ex-husband and the kids were actually outside the hospital while I was doing the ultrasound. The doctor itself, she told me, listen, there is a surgeon in the hospital now. If you want, it's up to you if you want to meet him and maybe go have a chat with him, because if we get the biopsy, obviously results, if you need to do any kind of surgery, eventually we'll still need to meet with him. And I said, okay, you know, like, why not? I'm here, let me go. So from the ultrasound appointment, I went to another appointment to wait for the surgeon. And while I was waiting, I let know my family. I said, listen, I have another appointment, just wait for me outside, because they weren't allowed, obviously, to come in. That's why. When I got into the room of the surgeon, he checked me. He obviously had ultrasound results from the doctor downstairs. From his looks and his talk, the first thing he told me, are you alone? I said, no, my family is outside. He told me, call them to come in. So that was the first strike where it hit me. And obviously I started crying. But I really hold it together. But it kind of, you know what is coming, even if you try to hide it, you know, like, I didn't thought it's cancer, but back of my head, I'm like, okay, this is something, you know. So everybody came in, and the doctor basically just explained, listen, obviously I cannot say anything until the results, but all I can do is explain what if there is something and if there is nothing, what kind of path we can take. He really nicely explained if it is cancerous cells, and so what kind of, he couldn't say anything, because obviously from biopsy we need to know the type of the cancer and so on. So very briefly overall, what will be procedure and what we should do, you know. And that was the waiting game then, you know. Basically said, okay, now we wait for the biopsy results, and I see you, if I have to see you in a week's time or so on, we'll call you. So leaving the hospital, it was like, okay, this is happening. What is happening? I really didn't cope on it, I think. So I went in the day doing my daily routine, in the back of my mind thinking, okay, it's gonna be okay. Obviously, everyone around, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine, you know, trying to calm you down. Of course, I start overthinking straight away, and I'm an overthinker. I am. I tried to be positive. I'm like, okay, not think about this, Monica. You know, we have a week. It was torture of the week to wait.
And it was a 1 week wait?
Yeah, it's a 1 week wait for the biopsy results.
Okay.
Yes.
So the biopsy results went back to the hospital to get the results?
Yes. They actually call you. They don't tell you on the phone. You have to come for the appointment. And when you get to the appointment, they will tell you, like, okay, we found the cancer cells. And from then on, it just rolled on very, very fast. So the surgeon confirms that the cancer cells were found, then refers to the oncologist. You get your oncologist doctor, which kind of talks more deeply about the type of the cancer and the treatment which should be taken. And from then on, it just, so I remember the date, it was 8th of October when I got the ultrasound, when I went for ultrasound. And I started my first chemo, I think so it was 14th November. It was very, very fast from then on. Like they didn't wait. They didn't want to wait, obviously, as soon as we can start the process, let's do it. So being thrown away in this, okay, I'm having this illness, like what do I do? Like, okay, because it's very structural, okay, you're gonna go to this, you're gonna have this every cycle, blah, blah. You'll have a hair loss, you're gonna have this side effects, side effects, blah, blah. Like, okay. And I kind of lost myself in the same time. Okay, I still have life to live. I have my kids and I have daily routine. But then I was so lost. I started obviously finding things online and seeing community. Didn't much find in Malta much about it, to be honest. I tried to Google things, breast cancer Malta, blah, blah. You do have the organizations, but there is not much of community as a group community to chat. Maybe this is what I was kind of looking for, I think. So I joined more overseas ones, Americans, English ones, just to read reviews or people posting it about it. The simple things, like what do I do when the hair loss, how to get a wig, or simple things.
These are the things we don't think about.
You don't think about. Even me, I didn't thought about it. And actually I was worrying about like, okay, I'm gonna get the wig, and then I never thought like, oh, if I lose my hair, like actually my eyebrows and eyelashes will go down. And only when I went through the websites reading the comments and people sharing things, some shared like, oh, I got this, permanent microblading, for example, eyebrows done. It really, really helped me. I was like, what? I never thought about it. I had to start chemo in a week's time. And I was like, no, I need to get the eyebrows. I remember my ex-husband, like he had a contact and he got me that contact, like, please help my wife. She needs to her eyebrows done. I got the appointment. I got the eyebrows done, which was, people would feel like, what? Like, why would you care at that stage, But now, when I look back, it was the best thing I done for myself, because you lose everything, So I just kept the shape of my face, those eyebrows. And then, people do tattoos, kind of weekly tattoos or whatever you have to do. It's the little simple things, but they add so much to your life. You wouldn't think about it.
As you're talking now, I mean, dealing with two young children is already a challenge. And then throw into the mix cancer diagnosis. Throw on top of that the treatment, which itself is obviously challenging and has all the side effects, which we'll come to in a second. But throw on top of that the fact that you're losing your hair, you're losing part of your identity. I mean, my blonde hair is part of my identity. You're blonde as well. It's part of who you are. Exactly. And this is the side effect of the chemo, not the cancer.
Yes, of the chemo drugs.
So in order to be able to treat the cancer, you've got to sacrifice part of what makes you you. And these are the things I think for myself, and this is why we're diving into this, is that I'd never even think of that you're losing your hair, but you're losing your eyebrows as well. Yeah. And your eyelashes?
Yeah.
What? No! I mean, that one for me would be heartbreaking. But it's the reality. So you're going through all of this, and at the same time, you still have a marriage, you still have kids, you still have the diagnosis that you're dealing with. Did you grieve for the diagnosis? Did you ever go to yourself, why the hell is this happening to me?
Yeah. Always, till now, I sometimes ask, why? Why me? You always have these questions back at your mind. Like, why me? I always considered myself a good person, and it breaks our heart, because sometimes we feel like we always see that, all the people, not the best people, they always get their way, and the good people, the genuine people always suffer. And I always looked back at that, like, why me? So the cancer took not just my hair, my identity and stuff, but I know it gave me so much back as well as a person. So I try to shift this to make me feel better, I would say. As you say, like dealing, you're just thrown in it. And I think so you don't realize it because, as you said, I had a marriage, I had kids. Being stubborn, I'm a very stubborn person, okay?
Yeah, you
It
may
does,
both.
I am stubborn, I am Capricorn, and I really try still now to learn how to balance my stubbornness because it's not always good. And I do understand it. It's good in some ways, sometimes it's not good. Being stubborn didn't really help me. I love the way that I was stubborn to keep my life, the routine. I didn't want to feel weak or show that I'm weak for my kids. Yes. So that mindset that, okay, I can still keep going and doing and I still be myself. I kept that and I did that, but it took part of me which affected me mentally as well as I lost myself as well. It's funny enough to know that it's a time where I should care of myself and take care of myself in this kind of downtimes and illness. I still showed up for everyone. And I think so this is the payback what I pay till now. I always try to show up for someone else. And I have to remind myself, Bon, have to take care of yourself,
Somebody said something very profound to me the other day about this. They said when you're on an airplane and they do the demonstration of the masks, they always say put your own mask on first before you put on the mask for someone else, because you can't help someone else efficiently unless you are taking care of yourself. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And suddenly I said to myself, you know what, Trudy, this is exactly it. You put your own mask on and then you can help someone else. But you also said something back there, and I want to throw this into the mix as well, and I think that this is really worth noting, is that you're going through all of this in a country that you didn't grow up in and without your family members. And I think this is also really important. I've had this experience myself where you go through something medically tragic and you don't have your family members with you. That in itself is incredibly tough. And I think I would say for me, in my instance, it also made me a little bit more independent, a little bit more, I'm stubborn as well, a little bit more headstrong and stubborn. But you also said something there that I really want to come back and dive into. You said, and this comes back to exactly why you're sitting here, that the cancer gave you something. What did it give you? Because you said that in a positive light, that cancer actually gave you something. What was that?
Gratitude, resilience, appreciating the life in the little moments we take life. It's so sad. Like, I feel so sad knowing that it happens to all of us, isn't it? It has something really bad has to happen, so we realize it. All of us take life for granted. It doesn't matter what can be illness, relation breakup, to anything, death, where we go back and then only then we realize what we should be grateful for and what we have. So I take this step back and I'm like looking at it, like I know I'm a person, I give always me to my kids and the loved ones, but little moments, just little moments, like now going and picking up my daughter from school, these little moments, like for her, probably she won't remember, but for me, I will remember this forever. Her running me, shouting, "Mommy, you're here," I never looked at it in that way. It's like, okay, just go, like go, 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 go. It's routine. Now I'm appreciating it. I'm grateful for it. I can do it. I go, I'm so lucky. For example, I have a treatment and I'm so lucky next day to go and be well to drive or to show up in work, and like I'm grateful for it because not everyone can do that. Someone is sick in bed with worse than I am.
But you're saying this today when I know that the cancer and overcoming the cancer was only one in a series of blows. Because let's move on. You get the I'm asking you. You got a diagnosis of cancer. There must have been a point where they said, "Okay, Mon, you're cancer free. You're okay." So when did that happen? Before we move on to your next blow, when did that happen, and what was that like?
Yeah, so I had a year out of my life.
Okay.
Not bad. I consider it's not bad. A year out of my life. I was diagnosed in October, and then I finished my treatment in August, full treatment.
Okay.
That means chemotherapy, operation, and I had radiotherapy as well. So August was a finish line. Everything went well. Cancer is kind of healed, okay? Operation, chemotherapy worked really well. It shrunk the cancer. Perfect.
And someone sat down and told you that it was okay.
Yes. Yes.
And what
the
was that?
doctor-
What was that moment like?
It felt like, okay, I can go back to life. It's
Okay.
we had this trip planned as well with the family to celebrate. Everything was like, okay, it was really tough year for all of us. Obviously, not just me, for everyone surrounding you. As you say, I don't have my family here. My mom is abroad. My nana was still alive. God bless her. She was back home. I never told her I had the cancer. I never told her, and because I knew it's gonna break her. And it was, let's lighten up in funny parts. I remember, so I didn't visit for a year. Obviously, I didn't go back home because I always had an excuse. I have kids and so on. So my mom used to visit her, and obviously I lost my hair. I wear the wig, which was fine. And we were going to this trip at the end of when I recovered. We had this trip planned, and she knew it. I said, "Oh, we're going on this trip, And my hair grew a little bit. It was 3 months out of chemo, so it started to go. I had this pixie look, kind of,
Which I have to say instantly, I love the pixie look. I've had it myself. Love it.
Yeah. So I went through all those stages. So I still wear the wig, but I try to embrace my new look. And I said, okay, so sometimes during the day, because it was summer as well, was hot, I said, okay, I rock my pixie look, but I still wear the wig time to time. So we went to this trip, and I was sending her pictures, obviously, from the trip. And, it's all relaxed, we are free, and so on, with friends. And I'm taking these pictures, and it's my short hair, pixie look. And I send her, and she's like, "Oh, you cut your hair." I'm like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. Yes, I just kind of, got tired of it, I was like, "Oh, okay, very nice. It suits you very well, Then I sent another picture. I decided to wear my wig. When we went to dinner, I was like, "Oh, just to be more kind of elegant, I'll wear this wig, I'll take my picture." And I sent it to her again. I don't understand.
The
And then
miraculous.
I got mixed up. I said, "Oh my God, Monica, you're fooling her." I was like, "Oh, no, no, no." I said, "It's okay, it's just a fake hair." Sometimes I tried, okay, are you getting me mixed up? So I got mixed up in that. So that's a funny story out of it. So life is good. Let's say coming back to life. We're coming back from the trip in August. And I feel like, okay, it's only a year out. It was only a year out, It's fine. Everything is going to be fine now. I still had to do some minor treatments. They are just for like kind of your immunity.
Yeah.
To go to the hospital to follow up, kind of post cancer. And every time you go to the hospital, obviously they do some tests, pregnancy tests, and so on. And I went to this treatment of immunity to get it done as normal. And the nurse asks me, to get all the tests and checks me. And for sure they remember me there in the ward. And she tells me, "Mon, you pregnant?" "What?" okay, don't worry, don't, we do it again. I'm like, what? Like, imagine I'm in the room, all the patients, I'm like, oh, can I be pregnant? Well, I can, but like, because I wouldn't, because chemotherapy gives you side effects where you can be not fertile anymore and so on. We knew the risks. However, I did take special injection during my chemo to kind of protect my ovaries, because ideally we were planning, we were blessed with 2 boys. But when you are told that, you might not have kids, you start thinking about the options. Okay. And the doctor suggested that listen, it's not guaranteed, but it can save your ovaries. So it actually puts you to menopause, this injection to protect your ovaries. And I done that. So I've been there, experienced some different side effects of that. And
You're a villain. Breaking my rules and you're sure.
Feel more sensual than ever before with the new Denise bra. Intimissimi.
I just feel alive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got that lifestyle, I'm fierce as hell. That blended top model, that husky fast throttle. Living it up, I love it. It said I just feel alive. 'Cause all I got is what I am and I'm on fire. And what you want is what I am, baby, that's fine. What all the kids said, I just feel alive.
Take care and enjoy healthy skin. Browns, empowering wellness through a selection of dermo-cosmetic brands ideal for the whole family.
If you're talking about a menopause experience alongside chemo,
Wow.
I mean,
yeah,
I went through that myself, exactly the same medication for endometriosis. And that in itself is already incredibly difficult. The side effects of that in itself are really profound. So we as women tend to kind of brush over this and say, well, I got chemo and I got my husband, I got my kids, and I got my family in different countries. One is in one country, one is in the other, but none of them are here. And then on top of that, by the way, I go into menopause to preserve my ovaries and all of the side effects that come with that. That's not you mentioned it as if it's a small thing. That is not a small thing. That's massive. That's huge. So if I didn't have a kind of fangirling thing for you before, now I'm just like in awe, because that is a tough, tough ride.
I try to kind of shift it away, these little things, like these little injections or extra things I had to take and so on, because it's hard to explain. As I say, if you not wearing the shoes, you cannot tell me, you don't imagine how to tie the laces, you know what I mean? So it's I can explain to the people, oh, it gives me the side effects or stuff, you know it yourself because you experienced it, so you understand me. But people who haven't been through it, I find it a bit sometimes hard, so that's why I try to shift it. Okay, this gives me this, I give me hot flashes. Nobody knows what is hot flashes until you experience it, isn't it? Good news out of this, that apparently I was pregnant. Yes, after, I think so, the nurse done 3 or 4 tests on that time when I was there. And
I can just imagine you saying, are you sure? Are you really sure?
Yeah.
Can we do another test? Can you just absolutely make sure you're sure?
Yeah. So it was funny in a way. It was shocked. We're all shocked. More nurses were shocked. It's it's okay, don't worry. So we'll take it from there. Obviously, I had to cancel my treatment then, and just run from there. They booked a gynae appointment to check and so on. That was another step which, as much as it gave happiness, it gave worry, because obviously doctors, I wasn't say they were very pleased, because ideally, they do not recommend to get pregnant at least 2 years after cancer or so, just for the precautions, just more for my health. than the babies, I would say. So they're worried about me. Life in that time gave me more challenges because I didn't had enough. I was pregnant with my little girl. When we got to know that it's a girl, obviously that was another level of excitement. I was really, really excited. And I said, it felt like it meant to be. This is how I look, I said, this girl is coming now after all these big struggles. Like, it's a reason why she's here, why she's coming. So I took it from that. Whatever happens, happens. Very shortly, my relationship, my marriage started to break down. It was as well very sudden, unexpected. So I think so. It was more, it took by surprise.
This is whilst you're pregnant.
While I was pregnant, exactly. So I was around 7-8 months pregnant, almost at the end, where life happened. And obviously, the marriage didn't go as we planned. And that there was a light, I think. Now, when I look back, it was a very tough time. I took it really hard. I felt it was harder for me than to going through the cancer, if I can say that. Because it's all again, isn't it? All I wanted was family. And you do so much and you close your eyes sometimes and ignore some things just because you want that picture perfect. All I wanted, I didn't have, obviously, I was growing up when my mom was single. So all I wanted is kids, husband, happy life. This is what I picture. It's what I grew up seeing. I want as an image. And seeing that breaking down, it broke me. It broke me in pieces. But I think because I knew, again, it's sweet enough, but being pregnant, and I'm like, oh my God, but you'll be pregnant. And that girl and being pregnant gave me hope and strength. In this lowest time in my life, I kind of felt like I cannot break down now. I was really bad, but I had to get up for another 2 kids in the morning. I had a newborn, so it pushed me through it. Some days I felt like I want to stay crying in bed, but I couldn't, could I? I was here, I was alone. As you say, it's we foreigners, I think so, or people who do change countries around, we have a different level of independence, a different level of acceptance, I think so. And sometimes it's not being strong or having that resilience. It's just, who's going to do it if it's not me? Who? You just have to do it,
And you had learned that, of course, from moving country at such an early age, at 13 years old. Even with Magda helping you there, you have to learn what it's like to stand on your own 2 feet. You have to learn how to accept and break through loneliness and being independent. And you have to say, okay, there's nothing else. If no one else is going to do it, no one else is going to do it for me. I have to make it by myself. I want to come back to that moment though, because you said that this whole breakdown, this communication about the breakdown of your marriage was very fast. And one thing that seems to be repetitive throughout your story is your mum goes to Ireland, she calls you and says, okay, do you want to come? And suddenly, bam, you're there. And then you said, I applied to come to Malta, bam, you're there. Then you come back to Malta, you meet someone a week later, bam, you're there.
Yeah.
Then you get this cancer diagnosis, bam, you're there.
Yeah.
And then you get this news that you're pregnant again, bam, you're there. And then you get this news that I'm assuming that was a tough conversation with your ex-husband where actually, okay, Mon, this is not going to work. And you're pregnant at the same time. Did you ever, in any of those instances or collectively, sit down and say, okay, now is the time that I need to sit with grief? Because there must have been a grieving process throughout all of these incidences. Grieving, leaving your friends, your family, grieving, moving on. You know, some of these are joyous experiences that happen so fast. But how do you deal with that?
This is where was the breaking point, I think. So for me, being pregnant and marriage breaking down, it got me to therapy. Only then. I never done any therapy during or after my cancer or chemo, which is recommended, obviously, you know. But we, again, you know, we just get into this life. Oh, everything is fine. Life is going. Cancer is out. Let's be happy, you know, pregnant. And you just keep going. You don't even take care of yourself to look at your mental load. And only when I was really down, I was struggling. I wasn't struggling as physically, I was more struggling mentally. You know, I used to have these panic attacks or really breakdowns where I used to feel alone. And that's when I had a newborn. I was like, oh, I cannot do it. How am I going to do it? And this is where it got us to the therapy. And I started the therapy to kind of ideally first go through the breakage and how I'm going to stand up on my feet. But it really helped me to see how much I carried from the previous experience, even the childhood. Every time, you know, I just see it, oh, everything started from the cancer. But actually, so many things start from the childhood, isn't it? And it's funny enough how, you know, the relationship with my mom, the relationship with my husband, so I could see it and relate it, how my childhood affected all that. And I am blessed. I'm blessed. The therapist I had, she was such a sweetheart. She was the one keeping me up. You know, I was going very often, once a week, I think so, for the beginning. And she used to tell me, like, Mon, she was very strict, you know, Mon, you do this, you can do this. But I remember I used to go with Eva, with my newborn. So she met her as well. And it helped me. It really got me through. Where at that point, you know, when they say like you wake up one day and it just clicks, it clicked. I said, what? Like, this is not who I am. It just clicked to me. I realized that I lost myself, not just while I was going through the hard times. I lost myself in the marriage, all those 10 years, you know, I lost myself. I really did. And it's not just me, I know so many women do.
Lost yourself. That's a really interesting way of putting it. But lost yourself as in how and what?
As who I am. I try to be there for everyone, for my kids. You know, as one becomes moms, everything's about the kids. I didn't follow my dreams when I think about it now. You know, when I came into relationship, I got thrown. It's like, what did I do? Then I become a full-time house mom. Like, what was my dreams? What I wanted to do? I enjoy hospitality. I want to do accounting. I really love numbers. I never done that, did I? I never took myself to trip to see my friends or did that or that. I started looking back and said, wait a second, you know, I'm more than that. Before I was fun and outgoing and doing this and that and that. I'm still this, like I still want to be this. So this is where it kind of woke me up and I said, you know what? I know I am best, or I'm trying to be my best, to be the best my mom out there. I know my kids will know it. I have to step back now. So, for example, when they used to be with their dad, it was really hard for me because I never had that, to let go. What do I do now? I don't have kids. What do I do? It was really, really hard. But again, the therapy helped me, the support and encouragement saying, Monica, I don't care what you're doing. When you don't have those kids, you do this and this and this. And I slowly started doing, if it's 40 minutes, it's like, okay, I go for a walk. And I go for a walk and I'm like, oh, this is how it feels. That's nice.
I'm giggling because as you said that, you rolled your eyes. You're like, go for a walk. But I want to come back to something you just said, because as you said it, it resonated with me. And I'm pretty sure, as you've just mentioned, it will resonate with so many women. It is so easy to lose yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't have children, but I have in the past lost myself in relationships. It's all been about the other person. Are they happy? Are they fulfilled? Am I showing up for them? Am I being everything that they want? Am I being everything that they need? Because I was worried that if I wasn't, I might lose them, and they had become a key part of my identity.
Exactly.
And that's not what we started as. We started as two individuals with great personalities and identities and so on, and whatever the scenario was. And suddenly I am becoming part of them and losing me. And I'm pretty sure that every woman will understand what that's like.
Thousands, millions of people. I know it exactly what you're saying, because I gave all. I'm not saying I'm regretting it, because this is what we naturally do, isn't it? It's like, becoming, supporting someone else because I'm supporting the household, because I have to do this. But then when I have to, as I said, like, I lost myself, because yes, I am a mother, I am a wife, I am this, but there is another part of me, adventurous, funny, this is where I start to find myself again. And when I did step by step, little by little, I was like, wow, I realized that how much I was missing.
Can you talk me through those little steps by step? How did that work? Because I'm a firm believer that one step forward is a one step in the right direction, and you can't undo that step forward. You might slip back, but you still have that step forward. So what did those steps look like as you were re-recovering and rediscovering yourself?
Self-love as trying to find, because everyone is different, trying to find what brings me, what grounds me as a person, I would say. Reconnecting with friends. I lost so many friends. Not like I lost, but I put them on hold. I knew they're there, but they have their life. I have my life. We meet, we don't meet, and you just reconnecting again. And it's hard, because imagine you are lost for so many years, and then you have to say, hi, so how are you?
Absolutely.
So that, I think, so that was one of the steps, and realizing they're still there for me.
Yeah.
They're still there. The people who are really, truly your friends, they're always going to be there for me, And
that's a difficult conversation to have, though, because I think every single person, men and women, would identify with that. You get into a relationship, you get into a family situation, you put all your energies in there, and you say, well, I'll connect with my friends. But friends are fundamentally important to every single person. It is so critical to, even if it's only once a week, check in. Hey, listen, how are you?
Yeah.
How's your week been? And it takes about 5 or 10 minutes to put on the list 5 friends that you check in with every week. And I can't emphasize, as you've just said, for me, my own experience, how fundamentally important it is just to check in, even if it's a one-line message. And I'm saying that because I keep saying that I'll do that to you, and I try remembering, life gets busy, but it's important to check in, because when the shit hits the fan, that is your family, particularly for people who live abroad.
Yeah.
But everyone is important, for any single person, that's your family. That's the family you choose.
Yeah, I kind of started to put priorities as, okay, meeting the friends when I have free time, what it helps me as a person. I always loved reading, you know. Okay, I'm gonna have this 1 hour just reading, or going for a hike. There's little pieces I found all along which helps me, you know. There is not a recipe for it. I think so everyone is different, but just allowing myself. I think so the first step was to allow myself. It's okay. I can do it. It's my time, you know, and say no, for example, like, oh, I always say, yes, okay, I will do it. Even I know I'm like, I'm not gonna be how I'm gonna do it. Sometimes just saying, no, you know what? I cannot. This helped me, but this was a little step-by-step process after the therapy, obviously going through the therapy, eventually finishing it, and slowly, but I'm still working on it. I'm still a human being, and I'm still finding my way. You know, I lose again myself. Sometimes I lose, and especially now, recently, I know I'm missing time for myself. And I actually craving it. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen my friends for ages, for months. I'm doing it, going. And I can see it like, no, I have to slow down. And I'm going to see what's the next step I have to do for myself to get back again that energy and that strength, which I can give then to my family, you know.
Putting that mask on yourself before you can help someone else. That oxygen mask.
Yes, oxygen mask.
I just feel alive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got that lifestyle, I'm fierce as hell. That blended top model, that husky fast throttle. Living it up, you know I love it. It said I just feel alive. 'Cause all I got is what I am and I'm on fire. And what you want is what I am, baby, that's fine. What all the kids said, I just feel alive.
Take care and enjoy healthy skin. Browns, empowering wellness through a selection of dermo-cosmetic brands ideal for the whole family.
You're a villain. Breaking more rules than you're sure.
Feel more sensual than ever before with the new Denise bra. Intimissimi.
I want to ask you something, Mon, that really, this is why I wanted to sit down with you. And you've hinted at the answer, but I really want to touch on it and put it into words. All the way through your journey, every time since I've known you, that I've seen you either speak on social media or whether you sat at my table, you've always had this incredible positivity. And I sit there and I think to myself, you're going to make me cry. It has profoundly impacted me because I sit there and I think to myself, here is a woman who is thousands of miles away from family. You're here in this country. You've made this your home. You got hit by cancer. You had this miracle baby, but at the same time, whilst you're still pregnant, you find out that your marriage is deteriorating and that it has come to an end. And we'll come to the next news. Always, always, always throughout all of this, you found the room to be positive and to show up with a smile on your face. And we know that on top of all that, there's treatments, there's a schedule, there's looking after kids. Where does that come from? Because I think that is not what everybody experiences.
I wasn't like this before, for sure. I was most of the time from my childhood, let's say, very realistic, you know,
Okay.
very realistic person. Like, this is A and this is how it is. not a negative, but definitely from the life patterns and how I've been thrown these life experiences, the positivity. I think so. Positivity came when I started practicing gratitude, and the gratitude gave me this sidekick of mindset of positivity. I told myself, and I do believe it, it's what you believe in, isn't it? I said, what's the point? I'm gonna cry and moan now because this happened to me. I have to look at the best part of it. Definitely my kids, because obviously you want to be best there for them, isn't it? So definitely the kids have a big impact of the positivity, because it doesn't matter what, I want them to show this strength I have, and whatever happens to mommy, that mommy was always happy. I don't want them. I mean, they do see me on low times crying, which is fine and okay, but positivity, I think so. This is what I find as for me helps me to go through my day. Not because I do this for someone else. I do love to inspire someone else, because I know it helped me as well when I told you, when I went around and looked, to oversee some social accounts. I mean, hearing a positive message or reading a positive message gives you positivity, isn't it? It affects you straight away. So I needed that. So I said, if I share this and it helps and one person, so be it, because I think so. This is what I was looking at when I was in downtimes, and this is what helped me. So I try to be that person as well, thinking maybe someone else needs me. Or sometimes someone else needs to see that I'm in really shit, and to show it like, okay, it's not always positive. It's not always positive. I really have bad days and down days. But I know that in my mindset, I say, okay, today it's bad, but tomorrow it's going to be good. One thing as well, which it's affecting me, I think so a lot as a mom, having my little girl. And having this mom guilt. I'm very good in mom guilt and balancing it, let's say. But I would lie if I say that I don't feel guilty now. I love this girl to my bits, and I know she came, the time she came, when she came, it was for a reason. But of course I feel guilty. I got this girl out in the world, and I feel guilty of giving this illness to her. It might be that I give it to her, and it breaks my heart thinking that she might have to go to what mommy went through. Of course, it's a guilt thing. I think so. It's a very realistic, normal thing to feel as a mom, especially having a girl. So I think so. Taking the gratitude and positivity, no matter what happens, I want to show her that mommy was there for her all the time, and if mommy can do it, she can do it.
Which is an amazing approach. How then do you apply that to what has recently happened? Because a couple of months ago, I follow you, I looked on your news feed, and you made this announcement that the cancer was back. And I cried. I was like, of all the people that I did not want that to happen to, it was you. So can you just explain to me, first of all, how did that happen? How did you find out that the cancer was back? And how do you process that, and where are you at now?
That was another shock, very sudden. So after, it's funny enough, sometimes I look at my life and say like, why this is happening to me? Like, what the hell I done in a past life? I'm paying for this now. I mean, life is good. I'm getting back on my track. Finding myself again. In the professional life, in the relationships and everything. And it's just really looking forward. Like I was so really looking forward to life, you know, like everything is settling. Because obviously the last 2 years after the divorce and so it was a bit shaky. So to find your feet back again, it's hard enough. And then what happened? Again, sudden. The same, it's like a deja vu. Deja vu. Sitting there with my boys on the sofa, chatting along, watching the movie. I don't know what we were doing. I feel a bump. I feel a lump on the other side now. On the other side. And now I know what it is because I've been through it. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, no. I didn't touch it for a few minutes. Maybe it will go away or something. It was Friday, I think so, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, oh my God, no, it cannot. Like, I just, in my head, I'm like, what? But now I know that this, obviously, because I've been through it, so I react to this differently. Being on the other side, again, it's most likely that it can happen. I texted the nurse because I thought, what do I do? In fact, luckily enough, I did have a checkup appointments next week. You know, I do have a checkup appointments every 6 months. And luckily enough, I have ones due the following week. So I knew that I do have a surgeon appointment. I knew that I have oncologist appointment. I was like, okay, shall I wait for the next week? Or I didn't know as well how to approach it. So I texted the nurse. I told her what happened. I said, listen, I just felt a lot. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. I do have these appointments. Shall I wait? Shall I not wait? What do I do? She told me, okay, it's good that you do have appointments. She said, nothing you can do much. If you want, maybe you can, if you manage to get ultrasound privately. I said, okay. So that was Friday, was the weekend. And my first appointment was Wednesday, follow-up. So I tried to get the ultrasound appointment with my previous doctor because I wanted to have the same doctor. She knew my history. And luckily enough, I got it for Tuesday. So I said, perfect. At least she does my ultrasound on Tuesday. And I go in appointment for checkup on Wednesday. So at least I have some information. So I went for ultrasound. She checked it again, nothing confirmed. It wasn't like the first time, this time, because I was really sure, like, when I go into ultrasound, I'm gonna read her through. I knew that, you know, like last time she told me, like, oh, it's you waited too long. It was like a hint. I couldn't read her. She didn't give me any clues. She said, it can be anything, Monica. It's very deep actually up, because if you wouldn't know, like it's very hard to find. She said, I will need to do the biopsy, obviously. So I cannot confirm anything. Okay. I said, oh my God, I'll have to wait again, you know. And she told me, okay, I'll really try my best. Come to biopsy. I was very lucky. She did me biopsy next day, Mater Day. I went for biopsy, and from there, again, it rolled up. So we got a biopsy. Another week later, confirmed that I have, it's cancerous. I met with an oncologist, and she told me that it's the same type. It's the same type, but we are taking a different treatment this time, a different kind of side of the treatment. Obviously, it's good that it was caught at the early stage, so I still have to get chemotherapy and the same story, aggressive, you know. But this time around, obviously with the surgeon, it's gonna go a different way. I'm gonna do chemotherapy. After my chemotherapy treatment, I'm gonna go for full double mastectomy.
Wow.
And do it proper. It's not proper way. It's not like because I didn't do it proper way last time. The difference was that after first time, when I finished my treatment, they do a genetic testing, and genetic testing takes many months of results to come out. So I had to go through surgery and just removing the lump, which I chose myself. We discussed with the doctor that the chemotherapy went really well, and just removing the lump mass, it should be enough. So obviously we discussed that, and I was happy with that. However, when the results came from the genetic testing, it showed that I do carry this mutation gene, which obviously affects and gives me higher risk of reoccurrence, and it's obviously can be carried from gene to gene. That's why I say no. It might be that I carry this to my girl now, so have to be aware of it. So because of that, knowing this history now, obviously we're taking a different approach. So we're doing the chemotherapy treatment, and then we go for full surgery. So hopefully I get rid of this for good, because we don't want to come back to the
Absolutely.
station.
Can I ask you, because I'm asking on behalf of women who have not passed through this experience. I think a double mastectomy is probably, for most of us, would be a really horrifying, frightening thought. For you, it is a lifeline. Is that how you see it? How do you apply that positivity to what you're going to go through?
In my situation, in my story, because everyone has different story, yes, and I appreciate everyone has their preferences and stuff. For example, how I see it from doctor's point of view, they do try to, because I'm so young, their excuse is always, before I got reoccurrence and the cancer came back, obviously we discussed that ideally after, because we saw the results, ideally in the future you do mastectomy, to help. But because you do have checkups very regularly, even if it's caught, it's going to be early stage. So kind of, this is how they see it in a positive way. How I see it from my perspective was, no, I want to do the surgery. I don't care that I need to remove my boobs. I don't care, because I see sometimes, I know there's a big identity of being a woman, or that giving that confidence, but everyone is different, isn't it? My confidence can be in somewhere else than yours. Thinking that I have to go through treatment again, losing my hair, going through side effects, I wait that. I don't want to go through this. I better do the surgery than I have to go through. So this is how I wait. This is my positivity, I better do that. So that's why I'm not sure how I'm going to be when the time comes to the operation. For now, it doesn't scare me. It really doesn't. I feel like it's going to be the easiest part to do. From all of the bundle and battle I had to go through. Yeah. I'm sure the recovery, is going to be a bit harder, take a longer, or so on. But it really doesn't bother me in that way, that I'm going to lose some kind of my identity. It doesn't identify who I am, this part of my body. So I look at this through this kind of positivity and sign, because I don't want to be in a situation again, saying like, oh, you may have to go through treatment again. And so I'm really looking at this like I'm halfway through, almost through my chemotherapy. I will get there, and I just want to close this chapter, and hopefully for good.
For good. In October, there's always an emphasis on breast cancer, but breast cancer is not restricted to October. That's not how life works. But what would you give as a word of wisdom or advice to any woman and of any age? Because I think we associate breast cancer with older women, but you're 33 and you were facing breast cancer. So tell me, what is your word of wisdom that you could, if you could drop a line to any woman, what would it be?
You're not alone. I think so. You do feel very lonely in this battle. You do. But just to know that you're not alone. Whatever you're going through or you will be facing, try to allow yourself to get help and find strength in you to, even if it's, as I say, like, because this is what I was missing. So that's why I always say, try to reach to people, to a little advice, a little silly advice, you need to find people who went through it as well. It's very hard. I don't want to sound harsh or mean that, a relative's not gonna support you, understand you, but it's a different level. You have to walk in the shoes to understand other people. So for me, was always helpful to chat with someone who actually went through it, or even if it's a therapy which is related to the treatment or this kind of illness. Don't shut yourself, don't close, because it's very, very easy. You do feel really loneliness, but you're not alone. I think so. That's the biggest, from my experience. I say this now because I already done this once.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And this is the first time how I struggled it, because I closed myself. I really closed myself, and it had repercussions, obviously. So now I just, whoever I know, it's hard. It's not easy. You have good days and you have bad days, but it will pass, just to have that faith that it will pass. And just reach out, even if it's me. Always can reach out, just for a word.
That kind of resonates as a wise word for anyone in any situation. Is that your wise word for life?
When we are thrown in really, really deep end, and sometimes we feel that everything is falling apart, there is a reason for that, isn't it? It's always a reason for that. This is how I see it. And it's hard when you are thrown down and down and down. But every time when you look back afterwards, you say, that was the reason why I was down, because I can see different things, isn't it? Like when I look back at my downest times, when I went through cancer, when I emigrated, and I was, there was a reason for that. Life, I think so, had a path to build you. Maybe if I'd never emigrated from Lithuania, I wouldn't be able to pass this experience, isn't it? So I look back and I said, oh, that was the reason why I cried in my bedroom, not telling my mom. You know what I mean? So I always look back at this as, doesn't matter. It is really hard, but whoever it is now at the downest times and it feels it's not fair, why it's me, you're gonna see it. There is a reason for that, why you are in this down times. It will pay back in a good way.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Monica.